You, yes you, are playing tank wrong. Today I'm going to be going over different playstyles and just general advice on how to play the tank role. First is tank presence. This is probably the most universal part of a tank's kit. Every good tank has presence, whether it's in the form of a giant hitbox hammer, a bunch of health and a hook, defense metrics and insane damage output, or the ability to turn teammates invincible for a short period of time. What I'm trying to say is that as a tank you have something demanding about you, something the other team has to respect. It is vital that you take advantage of this. For example, the mere presence of a D.Va can make a Pharah hold her ult. Even if your defense matrix is completely unbind from your keyboard, just the fear of it alone counters the ult. Another example is Rein's primary attack. Rein's big hammer might stop a tracer from blinking into your team, even if you don't swing it. Second, diving. Now the dive tanks in this game are D.Va, Winston, Doomfist, and kind of Hammond. But just because a tank is not a dive tank doesn't mean they can't dive. Now if you don't know what diving is, it's really simple. It's just the act of pushing into the enemy team and targeting one hero. Most of the time this will be a healer. Tanks you can get in and out and move quickly are called dive tanks. D.Va uses her defense matrix and boosters in combination to enter and exit. Winston his bubble and jump, Hammond his shield health and grapple, and Doomfist his shoulder suplex and punch. Understanding that the purpose of a dive is to get a pick is important. You don't dive a healer and then when they get to half HP start targeting someone else. You focus one character until they are either 1 dead, 2 out of reach, or 3 you need to retreat. If 1 or 2 happens, you can switch targets to someone either not dead or more vulnerable. Now that's why you dive, but just as important is when you dive. Diving at the beginning of every 5v5 teamfight will almost always result in failure. Watching health bars and positioning is key. If you notice Ana is hard pocketing their tank, and the soldier puts a couple bullets into Lucio, that is a perfect sign to dive him. Or if you see Moira use her shift ability and take some damage, that's a great time to dive. On the other hand, if Mercy is positioned behind a Baptiste for example, diving the Baptiste will almost surely end up in the Mercy just healing him. That's where the second part of diving comes in. Second part of diving, vulnerable characters. Some characters are much more vulnerable than others. Every healer in this game besides one floating robot has ways to escape a diving enemy. Ana sleep dart, Lucio speed boost and wall run, Baptiste super jump and immortality field, Brig shield, whip and shield bash, Kiriko teleport, Mercy fly, and Moira phase shift. Now depending on your character, these all have various strengths. Movement is by far the most important way to escape tanks, so that leaves Ana and Zenyatta, which funnily enough, are the 2 most common healers to dive along with Mercy. Now Mercy has movement, but it's dependent on the team positioning around her, and on top of that, she just isn't capable of doing any damage to a tank that's being healed. Zen and Ana can both deal significant damage to make up for their lack of movement, but the trade-off does not fare well when being dived. It's up to you, as a tank, to know when a healer uses these abilities and when they are most vulnerable for a dive. Third, team comp. With only one tank, the team largely plays around them. They demand a certain thing from the team, and if they can't deliver, it's a lost game. Largely, healers are the most important to play with. Most DPS can work in many different team comps, but the healer-tank relationship is a little more strict. For example, if you have a Lucio and Brigida as healers, don't play Winston, as he has little to no assistance in his dive. If this Lucio switches to Ana or Mercy, Winston then would be a better pick. What I'm trying to get at is to think with your brain about what your healers can support you in and what they can't. If at least one healer can't support you in your game plan, then find a new one. Fifth, ultimates. Now most if not all of the tank ults are either weak or combo ultimates. Now what that means is for these weaker ults, holding on to them for too long is not worth it. If you're the only one with ult and a teamfight is coming, there's almost no reason not to use it. The only reasons would be 1, they have a hard counter that you were either waiting to die or a cooldown to start. 2, someone on your team dies early and you decide a regroup would be better and ult the next fight. Or 3, you are waiting to combo with someone. Sixth, counterpicks. Counterpicks. Tank is basically a really complex game of rock paper scissors with the enemy team. If they have a Widow that for some reason can't miss, Winston is a good pick. If they have a Junkrat, Zarya does great. A Zen that keeps destroying you with Discord orbs, D.Va can handle it. You get the point. Now this is a video for another day, so sub to me if you want to see how to counterpick every character in the future, but to wrap it up, learn how to counterpick, learn who counters who, and play accordingly. Thank you for watching. Leave a like, subscribe, do all that if you want. I'm going to be coming out with videos about every week, that's my plan. I'm working pretty hard, so if you want to support me, please do.